When GDragon stepped off the plane in Sydney, the world held its breath. Clad in an ensemble that was nothing short of a pink revolution, the K-pop icon transformed a routine airport arrival into a statement of art, identity, and defiance. The outfit, a custom-made pink military uniform adorned with a crown of pearls, was not just clothing. It was a manifesto. But what drove GDragon to choose such a bold palette for his journey to Sydney? Was it merely a fashion choice, or was there a deeper narrative woven into the fabric of his attire? As the global spotlight intensified, the question lingered. What secrets did this pink ensemble hold? The image of GDragon, swathed in pink, became an instant sensation. Social media platforms erupted with a cacophony of reactions, each more fervent than the last. The ex-post by Kpop, capturing his arrival, garnered over 1 million views within hours. GDragon in pink, a Sydney welcome like no other. The caption read, a tantalizing hint at the spectacle that awaited. The outfit, a collaboration between his brand Piece -1 and high-end designers, was a visual feast. The pink suit with its military-inspired details was a custom product, manually embroidered with 300 pearls on the back. The crown, a hat-like structure, was a symbol of both royalty and rebellion. But why pink? Why, in a world where black and neutral tones dominate, did GDragon choose a color so often associated with vulnerability and softness? The answer, it seems, lies in the very essence of his artistry. As the world dissected every stitch and seam, the web results from mkdo.k are offered a glimpse into the outfit's provenance. Big Bang GDragon showed off his pink military uniform fashion on his return stage after 7 years. The article noted, highlighting the ensemble's debut during his monumental comeback in 2024. The total cost of GDragon's stage costumes, including this pink masterpiece, reached an astonishing 9 billion won, with the outfit itself valued at millions. The ring he wore, set with 44.88 carats of natural Paraiba tourmaline, was a conversation starter, costing about 8.8 billion won. But it was the pink suit that captured the collective imagination. The brooch, a collaboration with Jacob & Company, depicted a daisy flower with a single petal, using 18K white gold, 9.31 carats of white diamond, 1.94 carats of yellow sapphire, and 4.2 carats of charbarite. It was a symphony of luxury and rebellion, a statement that demanded attention. But what was GDragon saying? Was he challenging societal norms, or was he simply indulging in his love for the audacious? The choice of pink was not arbitrary. It was a color that carried weight, a hue that spoke of defiance in a world that often demanded conformity. Dazed magazine, in its analysis of GDragon's sartorial choices, noted his rare ability to play loose and wild, transforming the ridiculous into the sublime, and the impractical into the necessary. Pink, in this context, was not just a color. It was a rebellion against the constricted ideas of masculinity that pervade society. Korea Jungong Daily called him a notable star fashioning genderless style, a deviation from the fixed gender types of men and women. GDragon's pink outfit was a visual manifesto, a declaration that fashion could be fun, playful, and joyful, rather than exacting and serious. But what drove this choice for his Sydney flight? Was it a preview of the Übermensch tour? A hint at the themes of introspection and rebellion that would dominate his performance? The emotional undercurrent of GDragon's pink ensemble was palpable. Fans, many of whom had waited years for his return, saw in the color a symbol of hope and renewal. The ex-post capture of his arrival, with the pink suit glowing under the airport lights, was a moment of connection. It was not just about the outfit, it was about the man behind it. GDragon, after a 7-year hiatus, had returned not just as an artist but as a beacon of resilience. The web results from g-dragontour.com detailed the anticipation surrounding his 2025 World Tour Übermensch, a tour that promised to push creative boundaries. The pink outfit, worn en route to Sydney, was a prelude to this promise. It was a reminder that GDragon was not just performing, he was evolving. But what evolution was this? Was it a personal journey, a cultural shift, or both? As the world turned its gaze to Sydney, the pink outfit became a focal point of discussion. The web results from Forbes and Hypebeast lists of influential figures underscored GDragon's impact on youth culture and fashion trends. His inclusion in these lists 8 times was a testament to his enduring influence. But it was the pink suit that encapsulated this influence, a visual representation of his ability to reinvent himself. The concert, as captured in the ex-post frames of the performance, was a continuation of this narrative. The screens, the pyrotechnics, the music, all were extensions of the pink revolution that began at the airport. But what did this revolution mean for the future of K-pop? How would GDragon's choice of pink resonate with a global audience hungry for authenticity and innovation? The answer, perhaps, lies in the connection GDragon forged with his audience. The pink outfit was not just a fashion statement. It was an invitation to dialogue. It posed questions that lingered. What does it mean to defy expectation in a world that demands conformity? How does one sustain creative fervor after a decade away from the spotlight? And perhaps most importantly, what other surprises does GDragon have in store for his global audience? The pink ensemble, worn with such confidence and grace, was a hint at the answers. It was a reminder that in the world of K-pop, where trends come and go, true artistry endures. As the world awaited the Übermensch tour, the pink outfit remained a symbol of what was to come. It was a beacon of hope, a declaration of intent, and a challenge to the status quo. GDragon's choice of pink was not just about fashion. It was about identity, about the courage to be different in a world that often demands sameness. And as the global spotlight intensified, one thing was clear. GDragon had not just arrived in Sydney. He had arrived with a message. The pink revolution had begun, and the world was watching, waiting, wondering what would come next. What other colors, what other statements would GDragon unveil? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. It would be a story worth following. The pink revolution that GDragon ignited at Sydney Airport was not just a fleeting moment. It was the opening chapter of a narrative that would unfold with the precision of a maestro's baton. As he stepped onto Australian soil, the custom-made pink military uniform, with its 300 manually embroidered pearls and the crown-like hat, became a symbol of defiance and creativity. The ex-post by Kpop capturing this moment had already amassed over 1 million views, but the story was far from over. The world was hungry for more, and GDragon, ever the provocateur, was ready to deliver. The outfit's design, a collaboration between Piece-1 and high-end designers, was a masterclass in juxtaposition. The pink suit, with its military-inspired details, was a custom product that cost millions, as detailed in the web results from MK.kr. The ring, set with 44.88 carats of natural Paraiba tourmaline, was a conversation starter, valued at about 8.8 billion won. But it was the brooch, a collaboration with Jacob & Company, that truly encapsulated the ensemble's essence. Depicting a daisy flower with a single petal, it used 18K white gold, 9.31 carats of white diamond, 1.94 carats of yellow sapphire, and 4.2 carats of charbarite. It was a symphony of luxury and rebellion, a statement that demanded attention. But what was GDragon saying? Was he challenging societal norms, or was he simply indulging in his love for the audacious? The choice of pink was not arbitrary. It was a color that carried weight, a hue that spoke of defiance in a world that often demanded conformity. Dazed magazine, in its analysis of GDragon's sartorial choices, noted his rare ability to play loose and wild, transforming the ridiculous into the sublime, and the impractical into the necessary. Pink, in this context, was not just a color. It was a rebellion against the constricted ideas of masculinity that pervade society. Korea Jungong Daily called him a notable star fashioning genderless style, a deviation from the fixed gender types of men and women. GDragon's pink outfit was a visual manifesto, a declaration that fashion could be fun, playful, and joyful, rather than exacting and serious. But what drove this choice for his Sydney flight? Was it a preview of the Übermensch tour? A hint at the themes of introspection and rebellion that would dominate his performance? The emotional undercurrent of GDragon's pink ensemble was palpable. Fans, many of whom had waited years for his return, saw in the color a symbol of hope and renewal. The ex-post capture of his arrival, with the pink suit glowing under the airport lights, was a moment of connection. It was not just about the outfit, it was about the man behind it. GDragon, after a 7-year hiatus, had returned not just as an artist but as a beacon of resilience. The web results from G-dragontour.com detailed the anticipation surrounding his 2025 World Tour Übermensch. a tour that promised to push creative boundaries. The pink outfit, worn en route to Sydney, was a prelude to this promise. It was a reminder that GDragon was not just performing, he was evolving. But what evolution was this? Was it a personal journey, a cultural shift, or both? As the world turned its gaze to Sydney, the pink outfit became a focal point of discussion. The web results from Forbes and Hypebeast lists of influential figures underscored GDragon's impact on youth culture and fashion trends. His inclusion in these lists 8 times was a testament to his enduring influence. But it was the pink suit that encapsulated this influence, a visual representation of his ability to reinvent himself. The concert, as captured in the ex-post frames of the performance, was a continuation of this narrative. The screens, the pyrotechnics, the music, all were extensions of the pink revolution that began at the airport. But what did this revolution mean for the future of K-pop? How would GDragon's choice of pink resonate with a global audience hungry for authenticity and innovation? The answer, perhaps, lies in the connection GDragon forged with his audience. The pink outfit was not just a fashion statement. It was an invitation to dialogue. It posed questions that lingered. What does it mean to defy expectation in a world that demands conformity? How does one sustain creative fervor after a decade away from the spotlight? And perhaps most importantly, what other surprises does GDragon have in store for his global audience? The pink ensemble, worn with such confidence and grace, was a hint at the answers. It was a reminder that in the world of K-pop, where trends come and go, true artistry endures. As the world awaited the Übermensch tour, the pink outfit remained a symbol of what was to come. It was a beacon of hope, a declaration of intent, and a challenge to the status quo. GDragon's choice of pink was not just about fashion. It was about identity, about the courage to be different in a world that often demands sameness. And as the global spotlight intensified, one thing was clear. GDragon had not just arrived in Sydney, he had arrived with a message. The pink revolution had begun, and the world was watching, waiting, wondering what would come next. What other colors, what other statements would GDragon unveil? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. It would be a story worth following. The pink revolution that GDragon ignited at Sydney Airport was not just a fleeting moment. It was the opening chapter of a narrative that would unfold with the precision of a maestro's baton. As he stepped onto Australian soil, the custom-made pink military uniform, with its 300 manually embroidered pearls and the crown-like hat, became a symbol of defiance and creativity. The ex-post updates capturing this moment had already amassed over 1 million views, but the story was far from over. The world was hungry for more, and GDragon, ever the provocateur, was ready to deliver. The outfit's design, a collaboration between Piece-1 and high-end designers, was a masterclass in juxtaposition. The pink suit, with its military-inspired details, was a custom product that cost millions, as detailed in the web results from mk.co.kr. The ring, set with 44.88 carats of natural Paraiba tourmaline, was a conversation starter, valued at about 8.8 billion won. But it was the brooch, a collaboration with Jacob and Company, that truly encapsulated the ensemble's essence. Depicting a daisy flower with a single petal, it used 18K white gold, 9.31 carats of white diamond, 1.94 carats of yellow sapphire, and 4.2 carats of charbarite. It was a symphony of luxury and rebellion, a statement that demanded attention. But what was GDragon saying? Was he challenging societal norms, or was he simply indulging in his love for the audacious? The choice of pink was not arbitrary. It was a color that carried weight, a hue that spoke of defiance in a world that often demanded conformity. Dazed magazine, in its analysis of GDragon's sartorial choices, noted his rare ability to play loose and wild, transforming the ridiculous into the sublime, and the impractical into the necessary. Pink, in this context, was not just a color, it was a rebellion against the constricted ideas of masculinity that pervade society. Korea Jungong Daily called him a notable star fashioning genderless style, a deviation from the fixed gender types of men and women. GDragon's pink outfit was a visual manifesto, a declaration that fashion could be fun, playful, and joyful, rather than exacting and serious. But what drove this choice for his Sydney flight? Was it a preview of the Übermensch tour, a hint at the themes of introspection and rebellion that would dominate his performance? The emotional undercurrent of GDragon's pink ensemble was palpable. Fans, many of whom had waited years for his return, saw in the color a symbol of hope and renewal. The ex-post's capture of his arrival, with the pink suit glowing under the airport lights, was a moment of connection. It was not just about the outfit, it was about the man behind it. GDragon, after a 7-year hiatus, had returned not just as an artist but as a beacon of resilience. The web results from G-dragontour.com detailed the anticipation surrounding his 2025 world tour, Übermensch, a tour that promised to push creative boundaries. The pink outfit worn en route to Sydney was a prelude to this promise. It was a reminder that GDragon was not just performing, he was evolving. But what evolution was this? Was it a personal journey, a cultural shift, or both? As the world turned its gaze to Sydney, the pink outfit became a focal point of discussion. The web results from Forbes and Hypebeast lists of influential figures underscore GDragon's impact on youth culture and fashion trends. His inclusion in these lists 8 times was a testament to his enduring influence. But it was the pink suit that encapsulated this influence, a visual representation of his ability to reinvent himself. The concert, as captured in the ex-post frames of the performance, was a continuation of this narrative. The screens, the pyrotechnics, the music, all were extensions of the pink revolution that began at the airport. But what did this revolution mean for the future of K-pop? How would GDragon's choice of pink resonate with a global audience hungry for authenticity and innovation? The answer, perhaps, lies in the connection GDragon forged with his audience. The pink outfit was not just a fashion statement, it was an invitation to dialogue. It posed questions that lingered. What does it mean to defy expectation in a world that demands conformity? How does one sustain creative fervor after a decade away from the spotlight? And perhaps most importantly, what other surprises does GDragon have in store for his global audience? The pink ensemble, worn with such confidence and grace, was a hint at the answers. It was a reminder that in the world of K-pop, where trends come and go, true artistry endures. As the world awaited the Übermensch tour, the pink outfit remained a symbol of what was to come. It was a beacon of hope, a declaration of intent, and a challenge to the status quo. GDragon's choice of pink was not just about fashion, it was about identity, about the courage to be different in a world that often demands sameness. And as the global spotlight intensified, one thing was clear: GDragon had not just arrived in Sydney, he had arrived with a message. The pink revolution had begun, and the world was watching, waiting, wondering what would come next. What other colors, what other statements would GDragon unveil? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain: it would be a story worth following.